Greetings, beautiful people. My name is Simon Javan Okelo. I am the CEO and the founder of Madaraka Festival. I am also the host of Madaraka Festival Podcast, and we are coming to you live and direct from the Seattle Drum School of Music here in Georgetown, Seattle, Washington. I am really privileged to be sitting down with my brother, Paul Hupler, who is the founder of Satori Sound System, who is on the lineup for Madaraka Festival on 30th August this year. And also, he is a brother that we've done so many things with. We've worked so much here in Seattle to build One Vibe Band. And we have also traveled to Kenya, where he has had experiences working with the One Vibe Band in Kenya, seeing some of the work we do in Kenya with Madaraka Festival, as well as One Vibe Africa. So it's really an honor to have you here with me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, and thanks so much for these awesome experiences. One after the other, they just keep happening. Something I like to sum up and call that universal alignment. When you get your things together, and then you can connect outwardly, and make those other connections to other people with the same alignment, and then the trajectory just kind of seems to just take off,
100%.
Here we are.
100%. Thank you very much. So, I feel like I know your story enough, but I want you to just share with us some of the colors you grew up with, some of the sounds you grew up with, and some of the smells you grew up with that influence who you are as Satori Sound System.
Okay, yeah. For those who haven't heard maybe some of my backstory, I was born into a commune under a different name, actually. I was born in the Love Israel family, and my name was Reconciliation. And so growing up in a commune was a bit of an alternative thing. One part of the commune would be like, festivities. And so we'd have big parties that would have, often a lot of music from all over the place. And one of those bands in particular was actually Jah Levi and the Higher Reasoning, and it was a reggae band. And so that's, I think, some of my first influences of like seeing reggae in a big cultural group come up with like all the bingy drums and the big bass drums. And so the show was the show, but then the drum circle afterwards was like a tribal experience. And I was like, man, this is like, so it was just people getting together for music, not just the perfected song, but the process of gathering and playing music at like a drum circle or something like that of like hundreds of people and an organized one at that. So that was kind of like the beginning, the big festivals and stuff like that. It carved a place for music in my life. That's what I wanted to go to. But then to bring Satori into that equation would be, as I learned music for, 5-10 years or something like that, electronic music started happening. Social media still wasn't here, but electronic music of just people making music that wasn't from humans and then mixing that together. Somehow someone created drum and bass, and drum and bass is basically fast funk beats, boof, cat, boom, cat, boom, cat. And then really heavy bass lines like whoa, 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 and the combination of bass and drums was just so moving, fast-paced, fluid. You could feel it on your chest. It was just moving at like a different pulse that I'd ever heard before. And raves back in the day were not legal here. And so we'd have these renegade type things where we would go up into the woods and bring a big PA system. We used to call it Jungle in the Forest. My buddy KJ Saka, some of you people know KJ Saka today. He plays for Pendulum and Destroyed and many other projects. But we used to team up back in the day and throw these music festivals, just renegade style, until we got caught. But people who just love the music and want to get together and play this. All right, I guess I'm missing one element out of it. We were humans that were completely passionate about playing electronic music. So drummers that are playing these fast jungle beats on their acoustic drum sets, you know, trying to use pedals to get that distorted sound for like the instruments and stuff, until you discover you basically have to make it all in like synthesizers and you know. But yeah, so
I love that. I love how you also mentioned that drum and bass came from music that was not human.
Yeah, the act of, I think, flipping the tempo. So if you have something that's at like, you know, 80 BPMs and you turn it into 160 BPMs, you just took a beat that's like boom, cat, and then you boom, cat, boom, cat, boom, cat, boom, cat, boom, cat. And today you just can almost just like jump up is almost just a snare. You know, it's kind of just an example of just driving kind of the same music, but you put this fluid, fast, kind of double-timed beat behind it. It just changes the whole game. And if people are dancing, that I think the dancers having this experience were like in love right away. And you know, as one thing that's come out about Satori Sound System is when I'm playing drum and bass in particular versus dubstep or other bass music, something happens with the audience where now the humans moving fast and everything else kind of takes off, and there's a lot of energy that's
like
kind of created.
Spiritual experience.
It's cool. It's
It reminds me of we had religious sects in Kenya. I wish when you're in Kenya I could have taken you to one of these, where people the religious movements or organizations. For example, one is called Roho Musalaba, where they have big drums and small drums and bells, and people dance bare feet, and then the music gets them in a trance where they completely lose themselves, and a spirit takes them over, and they're probably jumping and doing something until they eventually pass out. And everybody surrounds them and kind of calms them down until they regain their consciousness, you know? And sometimes it's like 15 people who have lost consciousness, and it's just like the vibe is different, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like drum and bass can take people there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's real musical healing.
You know, I play in a Jelia band with Boca Coete, and he's got the dun-dun drums, and we have drum breaks, and it goes there. So, I mean, I'm experiencing that, you know, like that, you know, with some of those drums. You're referring to dun-dun drums? The big ones?
Yeah, the big drums.
Dun-dun. Yeah.
But then the ones I'm talking about, you carry them, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're big but lighter. You can even run with them.
Oh, okay.
It's so crazy when you see
slightly different.
Yeah, when you see this Roho people. Roho means heart, so heart people. You know.
Yeah.
It's completely different. That has to be our goal when we go back to Kenya next time. I have to take you to this kind of experiences. So let's talk about the meaning of Satori. You know? Why did you choose the name Satori, and also why is this brand and musical direction, this genre, why is this so important to you right now? Because as an artist and as a drummer, you're multi-talented. You're also a producer. You could just focus on production, or you could just focus on one band. But in the middle of all of this, you're really pushing Satori Sound System, and we'll talk about you being on the lineup for Madaraka Festival in a moment. But tell people who are hearing about Satori Sound System for the first time what it is.
Yeah, so like I said, fell in love with the music back in the day. That was back in like the late 90s, you know? And so I had this project with my roommate, Chris Jones, and technically he's the one to come up with the name Satori. And Satori is like the one-pointed focus when you're focusing on one thing, like a meditation, and focus on, block everything out. And when you have that breakthrough, that epiphany, that aha moment, that is the moment of Satori. And so Satori Sound System is kind of pulling together, you know, all the elements that need to happen for a sound system of, you know, drum and bass music is a big sound system, lots of speakers and whatnot. And then, you know, I'm a human element. And so that's where the name kind of came from. Chris Jones moved away. And so as I got back into production and started producing all multi-genre music, I rediscovered my passion for bass music and started just playing sequences, like producing the whole sequence, and then just playing the drums live, like pulling out the drums, and then I do my performance live was to all the music that I made from scratch. As of right now, everything is like I made everything on synthesizers and stuff like that, and sometimes I use some software, but most of it is from scratch, like totally
live. Everything
everything's live. Yeah,
many drummers and artists and just humanity dream about going to Burning Man, but you've gone to Burning Man and killed it.
Yeah,
played multiple stages. Speak about that briefly.
Yeah, so that's really the thing. So I started making some bass music and playing to it. And then Blue Jay, he's going to be on the lineup too. Blue Jay was like, hey, I got to go down to Burning Man. I got to bring this RV down there. And I was like, oh, I've always wanted to go. My sister Jessica has always been trying to get me to go to Burning Man. And so I finally made it. And sure enough, it's like Burning Man's kind of like a radical self-reliance kind of thing. I bought a special drum kit, a little Questlove breakbeat kit, because it's going to get destroyed. That dust is like 9.2 on a pH level, so just it's corrosive. So I got a little double baby carrier cart on wheels to drag my drum set around, and I went and played 22, almost 23 hours of like all these art cars, which is just a really cool looking car that's moving around the Playa. And basically I just played for hours, and anytime I was playing live drum and bass in particular, people would stop in the masses on their bikes and be like, what? Everyone's playing drum and bass and house and all that other stuff, but seeing me do it live was anywhere I was doing that would form a big group of people. It was blowing people's minds. And so I came home being like, okay, I need to not just produce bass music, but like focus. Drum and bass specifically. And then I entered a competition, and it brought a lot of attention to my project. And then broadcasting the videos that I've collected of me playing live drum and bass is really what's making this whole thing matter, versus like anyone could play a breakbeat, but like not everyone can play jungle beats. So,
how does it feel being on the Madaraka lineup in Seattle?
Man, I've just, first of all, going to Kenya, that was an amazing experience. And then to play Madaraka Festival for the 10-year anniversary, that was...
In Kisumu.
In Kisumu, Kenya, I will always remember that. But also just the warm welcome of being well received, that was an amazing experience.
We picked you up at like 1 a.m. and drove overnight from Nairobi to Kisumu.
What a trip.
It's
like 26 hours of flying and then a 6-hour drive. But that was amazing. And now to be home, to say, hey, friends and family, you've been seeing me do all kinds of music, all this reggae, dancehall, Afrobeat, all this different stuff. But now you can actually come and see Satori Sound System. I'm going to play my own set. They're on Madaraka Festival, 25 on the Pier 62. Super looking forward to this. And thanks for another, grand opportunity.
Look at that camera and invite everybody who loves you and Satori Sound System to join us on August 30th.
Everybody, friends and family, I am Satori Sound System, and I just want to say that you catch me on all kinds of shows, all different things with all different people, and as much as I will be doing that at Madaraka Festival, I'm also here to play my own set of my own bass music, drum and bass, live drum and bass for Satori Sound System. Please be there on August 30th, Pier 62, Madaraka Festival 2025.
Exactly, 12 to 9 p.m., Share with everybody how they can stay in touch with you. You're big on social media. How can they follow you?
Yep. My brand name is Satori Sound System, so please follow on IG. I'll follow you back. And anyone who already knows me, I'm a big networker, and I'm going to show up in your comments. So, blessings and love to you all.
Thank you very much for making the time for this conversation. I really want to have you back. This is the second time we're having you on the Madaraka Festival Podcast. I would love to have you after Madaraka for a longer conversation, because I feel like there's so much we need to break down. And also when you come back, we'll talk about the album that we are working on, Speak briefly about that before we wrap up our conversation today. How does it feel to have a reggae album with me? And this thing has been in the works for like a year, maybe 2 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time coming, but
Yeah.
it's in its final stages. So look
Yeah.
for the third Madaraka album will be coming out very shortly.
Yeah.
You know, featuring Simon Okelo.
Excellent.
And
Excellent.
yeah, look for that. Lots of reggae, dancehall, some Afrobeat. Got a lot of really cool collaborations with people all around the world. Beautiful music coming right to you. You know,
Excellent.
very soon.
Excellent. Thank you all for joining me for this incredible episode with Paul Hupler. Join us August 30th at Pier 62. It's going to be historic. Peace and love.